senior resource, helping to find answers on important topics like finances, senior housing, estate planning, real estate, health, and much more. Now, let's join Kupunawiki host, Brandon Lau.
Aloha and welcome to the Kupunawiki radio show. This month we are talking about health and wellness. And today in the studio we have Anthony Crisco, the Fascianator. Kupunawiki is Hawaii's senior resource. We talk to the best local professionals in the state regarding topics such as real estate, senior housing, estate planning, finance, and health, so our Kupunan families can find the best resources in the midst of a life transition. We strive to make sure our seniors are informed and supported every step of the way. Thanks for joining us again today. I am Brandon Lau, your host for the Kupunawiki radio show. Our title sponsor for today is the Choice Group at Locations, providing you with the best real estate information so that you can make the most informed decisions. As the Choice Group likes to say, real estate is about choice. And now we have our real estate tip of the week brought to you by the Choice Group at Locations. Lead-based paint was a product which was prevalently used on properties prior to 1978. It is not a legal requirement for sellers of properties built prior to 1978 to disclose their knowledge of whether or not lead-based paint is contained in their property. If you are uncertain as to whether or not lead-based paint is contained in your property, you can always hire a professional inspector to check your home. For more information, contact the Choice Group at 753-9033. Well, again, today we have in the studio Anthony Crisco, the Fascianator. Welcome, Anthony.
Hi, how are you, Brandon?
Now, I am fascinated by the Fascianator title, and I think it speaks volumes about how you help people to live healthier. Tell us a little bit about fascia and the Fascianator title. How did that all come about?
Great question. Fascia was classified in the year 2012 as the largest organ of your body.
Which is?
Your fascia.
Okay.
A lot of people thought that the skin was the largest organ back in the days. Well, it's 2018. Times have changed. You must update your scientific knowledge regularly because that the way things change, if you're not up to date, you're way behind.
And the fascia is that part of your cell?
Fascia wraps all 80 trillion of your cells,
That's right.
all 45 miles of nerves, all 206 bones, all 360 joints, all 900 ligaments, all 60,000 miles of blood vessels, all your brain, your spinal cord, every single organ. It's even the tissue that separates your body's cavities. It's known the visceral fascia. So there's many, many different layers and types.
I'll take your word for it. I'm not going to fact check all your numbers, but I'm sure you know it by heart.
Go for it.
And tell us, how did you get involved in educating us about fascia and helping people to become healthier?
Well, I got my Bachelor of Science back in 1994 in physical education with an emphasis in physical therapy. Now, at that time, there wasn't really graduate programs or even doctorate programs. And from where I had come from, I needed to work. So, higher education wasn't really going to fit for me. I had to make money and start paying for things. So as I began my career as a personal trainer, instead of just trying to make people stronger and fitter, I noticed there was a gap in the market, and that gap was between physical therapy and normal activities of living. And we call that genre of training now is called post-rehabilitation. And the way that works is someone might finish their 6 weeks of physical therapy, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're ready to go walk up a flight of steps on their own. So because I realized that niche was a wide open market, that's what I decided to do. And as time went on, I started rolling people out, like the foam rollers came out.
Yeah, I've seen those. In fact, I should probably use it more often, being that I'm a runner. But
if you like to win, I mean, but
who doesn't?
What I noticed with the seniors, this big 6-inch roller was too big for them to balance on, and they would fall over, and they would tighten up because they're afraid of falling. The Fascianator is half the size, but much more firm.
Okay.
Hashtag, it's not a foam roller.
It's the Fascianator.
It's the Fascianator.
Now, how does that little foam roller, and I'm going to have you try to describe it to our listeners in case they're not really aware of what you're talking about, but what is it composed of, and how does it help your fascia?
All right, our roller, number one, it's not made of foam at all.
Okay.
It is just an ABS tube. I'm not going to give away all my dimensions because that's, proprietary information. However, it's not covered with foam rubber or anything. It's covered with a little bit of indoor-outdoor carpet because you still want the firmness to be enough where, like, for example, let's say I'm rolling on someone who's really stiff. Well, a lot of cases, their muscles are stiffer than the roller implement they're trying to use. That's like trying to use a dull razor to shave your legs or your face.
Because you don't shave your legs.
No.
Okay. So it'll roll against your fascia, and as it's doing that, what does it do? What are the health benefits?
Okay, so there's 3 properties of the fascination method of rolling with the Fascianator. Number 1, when you roll your fascia with enough pressure and a sustained slow movements, you squeeze out cellular waste that causes inflammation. That's the first thing.
Okay.
Number 2, when you take the pressure off, the science has shown and demonstrated a higher percentage of fresh water or interstitial fluid, also known as lymphatic fluid, fills the dry tissue as if I took a dry sponge. If I dipped it in water, that sponge would fill up and regain its original form. Yes?
Okay.
Well, take, for example, plantar fasciitis. The bottom of someone's foot, the tissue is so tight, it's painful, it hurts to put pressure, it changes how they walk, then they start having knee and hip and other problems. When we roll the feet and the calves and the hamstrings together in order, the entire chain of structures rehydrates, re-lengthens, and the net result is, wow, I feel like my feet are lighter. I don't have to drag my feet. And as you know, with seniors, as soon as they start dragging those heels is when danger is right around the corner because they could fall on the street, break their pelvis. And then you go to Western allopathic medicine, for example, they give you a cane, and you rely on that cane even more and drag your feet even more. And then they give you a walker, and you rely on that even more. Then they give you a little seat with the handbrakes on it, and then you're just footing around town.
I see the progression. But if they would only take the time to use a roller and to, how would you say, tenderize their fascia, or
that's a good one.
Rehydrate
the fascia.
Then they may not have the progressive result of that problem.
Correct. And the third thing it does, when we roll the muscles, the brain tells the muscle to stop being so tight in a resting state. And you roll the muscle, you find the tender spot, the leg starts to shake, and then the muscle tension releases, and then all the tension around the arteries, veins, nerves, and lymphatic vessels is eliminated, thereby restoring oxygenated blood flow to the structures, restoring lymphatic drainage and old blood through the blood veins back to the heart, and taking pressure off the nerves, which is what addresses neuropathy.
Right. Now, it sounds a little bit perhaps like the benefits of therapeutic massage, for example. Is it similar to that?
It's exactly like that, except I don't have to make an appointment. I don't have to disrobe. If I have a Fascianator by my bedside, guess what? My masseuse is with me 24 hours a day, and his name is me. I'm my own masseuse, and it's much more cost effective, especially if you're on a fixed income.
Right. Now, tell us some of the benefits of, rehydrating your fascia, or maybe give me some examples of how your clients have benefited from this.
All right. How about elimination of arthritic joints after 30 years of arthritis? And that particular testimony comes from a retired surgeon who initially said, I was skeptical at first when I heard about this class, but lo and behold, 2 months after starting, my arthritis is gone. 8 months later, her night vision blindness also went away.
And how did that happen? I mean, blindness and how, starting with...
Number one, blood flow to the eyeball.
Okay.
Number 2, compression of tension around the optic nerve, which inhibits processing by the brain.
And that was around her neck.
In her neck area, more towards the back of the neck. The long name for that is the sternocleidomastoid, but we call it SCM for short. We even have other clients, 82 years old. After she went to her eye checkup, her eyeglass prescription changed by 1.5 diopters.
And that's all through rolling.
Regular rolling.
Wow.
I mean, name an issue, I'll give you a testimony.
Well, let's say some kupuna, they may have leg issues where there's restricted blood flow.
Yeah.
And it gets, purple.
Yeah.
Is that one of the things that would benefit?
Exactly. So what you're talking about is that purple leg is known as necrosis or tissue death.
Right.
Because the tissues furthest away from the heart, the lower leg, are not getting the oxygenated blood flow they need to replenish and restore and rebuild these tissues. We have a gentleman, he was been a diabetic for 29 years. His legs were chocolate brown, as he describes them, so that purple. After a year and a half of my regular classes, they're now normal color. And he still comes to my class, and he no longer gets cortisone shots in any of his joints.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony, I want to hear more about your classes and this fascinating topic of fascia, but we're going to have a quick commercial break, so don't go away.
We'll be back with more Kupunawiki right after this. Over the past 16 years, the Choice Group
Wow,
has
that was
been able
good.
to
It's real.
assist clients buy and sell their homes
So,
by striving
I
to
apologize.
make easy and seamless transition.
Your Fascianator is the
Multiple
product,
awards spanning
Yeah.
from Mr. of the Year,
but I think
But people call me
they call you the Fascianator
That's what is happening.
because that's what it said on their YouTube video.
Yeah.
The Fascianator.
That's it.
So it's you and your product.
I've
You're
ended
one and
up
the same.
taking the moniker, yes.
Okay.
But it's weird because that was the transformative thing. Like, I guess I am the Fascinator.
So who's your wife, Miss Fascinator?
Miss Universe.
Miss
Yeah,
Good answer. Good answer.
she's a cellular biologist. I'll talk about her.
Yeah, I want to get to your.
Cellular biologist by trade. She worked with the 2009 Nobel Prize winner for medicine in cancer research.
Wow.
And when we went to Sweden, we went to Gothenburg to the Nobel
Have
Museum.
you ever been worried leaving your loved one alone?
Eileen,
A fall or
Eileen.
just personal safety? The electronic caregiver mobile medical alert system with GPS technology.
If you're just joining us, we are in the studio with Anthony Crisco, the Fascianator. Now, Anthony, I just want to make it clear now, the Fascianator is both your product and yourself, right?
Yes, as our popularity gained momentum, people would come to me, like whether I'm flying abroad or if I'm walking down the street, they're like, Fascinator! So, I
It's stuck.
accept the role of changing lives. I'll take it.
That's wonderful. Now, tell us a little bit about, how this roller and your classes will help people in terms of improving their overall health. And, is it a daily thing? Does it have to be done for an hour a day? Tell us a little bit about that.
That was a great question. So we like to teach that your fascia, rolling your fascia is similar to brushing your teeth.
Okay.
So what does that mean to you?
3 times a day?
Maybe. We always get one joker who says, I brush my teeth once a month. I
Yeah.
said, yeah, that's why you're in the back.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, it's every day. I roll out when I wake up, and I roll out before I go to bed. If you're an athlete, roll before run and after run. If you are a dog walker, roll before and after you walk your dog. It doesn't have to be so limited in scope. Make it your process. So the whole idea with rolling, if you can do every other day, great. If you can do every day, great. Our classes, we have regular weekly classes, bi-weekly classes, but we always encourage everyone, try to do a little bit at home. If you're watching TV, what else are you going to do? Sit there?
Where are your classes?
Um,
How can people...
You can find all of our classes on our website, thefascianator.com, under Schedule of Classes.
And do you have videos where if somebody wasn't local and they wanted to understand the technique, they could
Yes.
go online,
We
click the
have-
video?
Yes, on our website, thefascianator.com, we have a store. You can buy digital instructional videos. You can download instructional PDFs, which is like the pages in a book. To help the environment, we don't print manuals anymore because everyone has their smart device. If you want to print it, then that's up to you. But we want to do our part environmentally as well.
Now, if somebody was going to enroll in one of your classes, how many sessions would it take to become proficient at using the Fascianator?
Well, that's a great question. It depends on how much they study up on it. I have people who never open the manual, but they come to every class. And I have people who live in Florida. They love it so much they fly to Hawaii to take my class.
Okay.
They just happened yesterday.
You have fans all over the world.
Well,
Word's getting out.
hey, I'm very happy that the word that they can change their own life is getting out.
Now, from what I understand, you're just one half of a power team. Your other half, or maybe better half, has also participated in the development of not just the product, but maybe the knowledge base behind it.
Absolutely.
Share a little bit about your partner.
Well, Eileen Paulo Crisco is my wife, and we actually met when we were 9 years old. We were in 4th grade together. We were part of what they call the mentally gifted minors, now known as gifted and talented kids.
I can't say that you're not persistent.
Yeah. And it turns out her field of study was biology, and one of her jobs out of college was as a cell biologist and cell culturist at the California Pacific Medical Center in San Francisco, where she was fortunate enough to do some work in collaboration with the 2009 Nobel Prize winner for medicine in cancer research. The woman's name is Elizabeth Blackburn, and you can actually see her. They have her dress in a big glass case in the Nobel Museum because, number one, not a lot of women have won the Nobel Prize for physiology and medicine, and that was one of the women my wife worked for. And be that as it may, today we released the fascia book, my wife's book. It's called Pain Free Every Day. And it just reached #1 seller status on Amazon, like just today. So
Congratulations.
It's funny that we have this amazing time to share with her and share with all our kapuna that, hey, there are some options for you to take care of yourself.
For our listeners, why don't you repeat the title of the book again? And you said it can be obtained on Amazon?
Yep, right now it's on early pre-release on Amazon.com. Pain Free Every Day. Look under the massage category of books, and her name is Eileen, Eileen, Paulo, Paulo Crisco. No relation to the guitarist.
Well, maybe we'll see her dress one day with the Fascianator in some kind of transparent box.
I'd love that.
Right? Now, tell me, what from here? I know you do classes, your product is selling. How do you want to continue to promote this idea of healthy living through rolling your fascia, and what's next?
Well, we also teach and write our own continuing education courses that are nationally approved through the National Academy of Sports Medicine, the American Council on Exercise. The American Council on Exercise continuing education courses are also approved in Europe and Canada. And we were in Sweden last March for some of those continuing education trainings, and we were in Japan in December for some continuing education trainings. We also have our fascination method manual translated into Chinese and Japanese.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you speak?
I love just a little.
Yeah.
My mom's Chinese and my dad was Italian, so
Oh, okay. That covers the gamut.
I can have a plate of spaghetti and a plate of chow fun at the same time.
Noodles. So your work has become obviously embraced by the larger health community, but from what I understand, it wasn't always the case.
Oh no! Everyone thought we were kind of on the
fringe,
the outer ring of crazy, but
why is that?
Because fascia has been ignored for hundreds of years. Okay, Western medicine wants to cut everything apart and try to address the issue where it is. The body doesn't work that way most of the time. The body requires you to address the root causes. For example, if you have a garden, do you trim the weeds at the top, or do you pull them out by the root? What do you think?
Depends how lazy I want to be.
Right now, if I went out into the street and got hit by a bus, then I would need all the marvels of modern medicine. I would need the drugs, I would need the anesthesia, the surgery, the pins, the whatever. However, if I'm raising my family and I'm growing old gracefully, I shouldn't be getting a referral to a neurologist because I can't feel my fingers. It's tight fascia around the various nerves where they penetrate various sheaths of fascia within our body. And that's what we do. We don't just teach people how to roll around on the floor.
Right.
We educate you about where and why and how to ameliorate or mitigate these chronic issues where when you go to a doctor, they might say, well, you're getting old. What do you want? That's what happens. And I only say that because that's what I've heard from my thousands of senior clients.
It happens to everybody, so we should expect it. But they don't always give maybe the solution of how to mitigate the issue. Now, do you see this becoming so mainstream that doctors will recommend it as part of treatment, or is it already happening?
As a matter of fact, it's already happening. We were fortunate enough to be invited by the Sjogren's and Lupus Foundation of Hawaii this year to be one of their main speakers on the big stage. And not only were we allowed to educate the patients about their fascia, we then had 2 breakout sessions where we rolled 80 different people with lupus. We rolled them out in my process. And these ladies and men were like, I can close my hand. I can stand on my feet. It doesn't hurt. They started crying. Because why? There's hope for them.
Well, it's life-changing.
Right. Because the other alternatives are, let me give you some methotrexate. That's a low-level chemotherapy. Let me dampen your immune response to this inflammation, and maybe you'll be all right. Well, remember, inflammation is a response of tight fascia not allowing cellular waste to be drained from the body.
Is that the lymphatic fluids?
That's exactly right. And remember, that fascia holds 4 gallons of water in the average person.
You know, I was going to say that this might be difficult, but I'm going to try it with you. Can we do a demonstration of the Fascianator right here in the radio studio?
Sure.
Okay. So let's say, you know, I'm a runner. Okay, and we do stretches before and after, but there are just some days that I wake up and I just don't feel like running because my body is not recovering enough.
Exactly.
Right. So give me a treatment. Like, what could I do with your Fascianator?
Well, you could roll your feet and your calves and your hamstrings and all the way into your hip muscles under your butt. And you'll be like, wow, I feel like I'm standing taller because the muscles aren't pulling you down. The other thing we could do is I have other tools for your feet and your toes. I use these little gua sha scrapers. They're little jade shaped like a heart. And I teach people how to take care of themselves. Now, there's other professionals charging $30 a body part to do it for you. Okay? Can you brush your own teeth? Then you can roll your own body.
Well, I guess the question is if they feel comfortable with the technique. You know, I think a lot of people, whether you're learning, you know, a sport or a new song, they always want to know if they're doing it right.
Absolutely. Well, if it's any consolation, my oldest client just turned 88 this year. He still golfs every Wednesday, 18 holes at Wailai. And he's on my YouTube channel, The Fascianator. He's got a video, he says, couldn't even lift a coffee cup. My whole shoulder hurt so bad. Now I have no pain. Before that, when he was 81, no, he was 84, okay?
Yeah.
He's limping around with a grimace on his face. And I begged him on my knees. I said, Al, I beseech you, take my class. He goes, well, all right, I'll try it. Guess what? After 2 months, he can walk down the steps like a normal human being, even though he has no cartilage in his knees.
No kidding. Wow.
Okay?
So, I mean, it's possible, like, even when you have these degenerative situations, doing this kind of work with your fascia could make up the difference.
Well, the new genre of medicine is called regenerative medicine. Okay? I have people who lost their toenails due to fungal infection. She's 81. The podiatrist said, well, you're 81. It's never growing back. What do you want? Well, guess what grew back in 3 months of rolling? Her toenail.
None.
Yes. I got a letter. I got all the letters. Another guy, gentlemen, you might like this. He had a bald spot. He's at his hairdresser. Same hairdresser for 10 years. She goes, what are you doing? Your hair's growing back. He's like, really? All I'm doing is rolling my neck every night.
But how do you document that, right? And how do you put it into
that's the thing.
A journal?
It's all anecdotal.
Yeah.
And I've had medical doctors with arms folded say right to my face, testimonials mean nothing. Okay? Well, I'm not going to sit around for the next 10 years and let people die a slow, horrible death.
Have objective evidence,
right? I lost my mother at the age of 52 to ovarian cancer. They told her she had gas. I'll just let that sit for a second.
Well, I think the reality is our body is connected. The fascia, like you said, is the largest organ, and it's something we should pay very close attention to.
Right. I mean, for the guys out there, let's say your steering wheel's vibrating. Do I replace your steering wheel or get 4 new tires?
Right. Well, Anthony, this has been very, very enlightening. If somebody wanted to purchase your product or go to a class or just watch you on YouTube and laugh, how can they do that?
You can find us at thefascianator.com. It's TheFascianator.com. They also provide rollers at Down to Earth in Kapolei, Down to Earth in Kaka'ako, the Marriott Ko'olina Beach and Sports Club, Amazon.com, and the Honolulu Club on Ward Avenue.
And as usual, you can all just Google the Fascianator.
Or give me a call, 808-227-6221.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Anthony Crisco, the Fascianator. Well, don't go